When I was kidnapped by the possessive woman, Aubrey was watching fireworks with her first love. Her indifferent voice came through the phone. Ethan, are you addicted to playing the victim? I'll pay the money, but you could do whatever you want with him. If he wants to act, play along. The female kidnapper leaned in, eyeing me, and asked, choose me or her. To survive, I had to kiss her. Later, when Aubrey realized I was truly missing, she called in a panic. My kidnapper answered, laughing softly as she nestled against me. Sorry, he's mine now. The sound of fireworks exploding brilliantly in the sky echoed through the cold, damp warehouse from the phone. Now on speaker, Aubrey's voice was lazy, dripping with sarcasm. Ethan, are you addicted to playing the victim? Just a few days ago, you were rude to Julian. You even tried to hit him, and I caught you red-handed, yet you try to blame him. And now you're saying Julian had you kidnapped? Fine. If you die, let me know. I'll send someone to collect your body. Nothing else, right? I'm watching the fireworks, so I'm hanging up now. Aubrey, I gripped the bars of the iron cage tightly. I'm not lying to you. The kidnappers told me they were hired by Julian. Listen to me. Don't be with him. He's a manipulative snake. A fist slammed into my face, knocking me backward. A kidnapper pointed at me and cursed. Damn it. I told you to call for $70 million in ransom. What the hell are you babbling about? You want to die? Clap, clap, clap. The sound of applause came from the phone. Aubrey spoke slowly. Such a good performance. Well, I'll play along. $70 million, right? I'll pay it. The kidnapper's expression softened slightly. Then he continued. Good. In 1 hour, have your people drop the money under the trash can in Union Square. After we confirm, we'll let the kid go. I'll pay the money, but do what you want with the man. If he wants to act, play along with him for a while. Aubrey's voice was filled with cruel mockery. Ethan, $70 million to get you to stop bothering me and Julian. For the 7 years you were with me, it's not expensive. It'll even give your actor buddies a bigger paycheck. Miss, are you sure you don't want the man? The lead kidnapper confirmed again. Aubrey let out a light laugh, her tone leaving no room for doubt. You guys dare to act. I dare to pay. It would be even better if you did something more exciting. I let go of the iron bars, laughing at myself. What was I still hoping for? 7 years of companionship, and I was just a stand-in. Aubrey, I said with difficulty, if I told you this isn't an act, that I might die here today, would you even care? For these 7 years, I guess I was blind. From now on, I won't bother you again. Ethan, shut up. A clear male voice came through the receiver. The man on the other end threatened coldly. It was you who took advantage of the situation, scheming to stay by Aubrey's side. How can you act so innocent? Ignore him. Look at the fireworks. AHM. The sound of a passionate kiss. A woman's soft moan. A man's heavy breathing. All crystal clear in the enclosed space. They must have been kissing so intensely. On the other end, so she was watching the fireworks with Julian. I pulled a delicate jewelry box from my pocket, a tragic smile on my face. Inside was a ring, the birthday present I had prepared for Aubrey. Aubrey never needed me. In countless dreams, the name she called out was always Julian's. And I was the fool who still fantasized that she might have some feelings for me. Aubrey, today I finally realized how wrong I was. Don't worry, I won't be delusional or clingy anymore. I wish you and Julian a long and happy life together, and a happy birthday. Aubrey, let's end it here. The other end was silent for a moment, then the line went dead. The two kidnappers had clearly never seen a situation like this and were momentarily speechless. It wasn't until the leader went out to take a call and came back that he ordered the other to help tie me up and drag me out. Boss, what did the client say? The leader sneered coldly. He said to bleed him dry. The other kidnapper spoke up. Boss, that's not a good idea. We took this job for the ransom. We give the client the big cut. We take the small one. Now, we have to kill someone. It's not worth it. You think I don't know that? But that person knows our information. If we don't do what he says, none of US will get away. Kid, you've messed with someone vicious. It's just your bad luck. With that, the lead kidnapper pulled out a knife and walked toward me step by step. We have no quarrel, but someone wants you dead. Don't worry, I'll make it quick. The other kidnapper cautiously added, but boss, taking a kidnapping job already violates the rules. Now we have to kill someone. This is something the miss strictly forbids. If she finds out, the lead kidnapper's expression hardened, and he scoffed impatiently. You're afraid of that woman? You don't really think she can clean up the old man's empire, do you? She's just a naive little girl who doesn't know any better. When we were fighting for the old man, she was still nursing at her mother's breast. And even if she does find out, we'll just say we found her a new boyfriend. You've seen how fast she goes through them. Is that so? A woman's voice suddenly rang out. The warehouse doors opened, and against the light, the sound of high heels approached, stopping beside me. A woman in a black jumpsuit with long wavy hair was looking at me with interest, followed by a line of bodyguards in black suits. The woman's cold gaze swept over the two boastful kidnappers, and she spoke with a hint of smile. So, this is what you've been up to, kidnapping a man. Seems my words don't carry much weight, do they? How about you see what this little girl is capable of today? The two kidnappers' faces immediately changed, and they bowed obsequiously to the woman. Miss, you misunderstand. Weren't you just complaining that your last boyfriend wasn't handsome enough? Look, we found you a handsome one. We guarantee you'll be satisfied. The woman's gaze fell on me, filled with a bit of curiosity. He's not bad. A sudden impulse rose within me. Ethan, why can't you let go just once? But I know him. He's the companion of that CEO from the Thorn Corporation. I'm not interested in other people's men, the woman said slowly. A flash of surprise went through me. I didn't know her. She looked at me again, her lips curving slightly when she saw my confused expression. She then walked 2 steps closer, bent down, and the tips of her long wavy hair brushed against my face, tickling me. With a flick of her wrists, a knife was already in her hand. She said faintly, "Let's go." After she cut the ropes, the woman was about to leave. On impulse, I grabbed her wrist. "What's this? Fallen for me?" The woman leaned in very close, her pleasant perfume filling the air. "Too bad. I don't mess with attached men." As she spoke, the knife in her hand was already at my throat. "I'm not a good person. You can't afford the price of provoking me." She patted my cheek affectionately, but her eyes were ice cold. I chuckled softly. "How do you know I can't afford it before we've even started?" For a moment, the woman's expression was stunned. Then she raised an eyebrow with interest. From what I'd observed, this woman didn't support what the two kidnappers were doing, but she hadn't completely turned on them either. Staying here was the most dangerous option for me. Plus, my own selfish desire. Since Aubrey didn't want my love, I might as well give it to another woman. "All right then, let's give it a try," the woman said. And then she kissed me. My mind went blank, the sensation on my lips unusually sensitive. Her lips were soft, making me kiss her deeper instinctively. No one in the warehouse dared to breathe. The woman's eyes glinted with a bewitching light as her hands suddenly moved down, touching my abs. I gasped, and with a surge of determination, I wrapped my arms around her waist, and she smoothly sat on my lap. When the kiss ended, her lipstick was smudged, but her eyes stared straight at me as she smiled. "You really surprised me, Ethan, but I'm very satisfied. You have 3 seconds to decide. Choose me or her," playing with a strand of her hair. I blurted out, "You." In the luxurious suite, scattered clothes marked a trail from the door to the bed. After everything had settled, the woman lay in my arms, glancing at the jewelry box that had fallen from my pocket. She giggled. "TK, a limited edition ring. Was it for her?" I nodded, then shook my head. She scoffed, suddenly sitting up and looking down at me. "Ethan, listen up. Now that you've seduced me, you can only be my man, Chloe's man," she said with a queenly posture. I let out a low laugh and kissed her forehead. Who would have thought that the legendary Chloe, who's had so many boyfriends, is actually... She shot me a look, a mix of playful annoyance and charm. The night deepened without us noticing. The woman, nestled in my arms, murmured sleepily, "Remember, you have to return the trash to the rotten person to be even." I leaned close to her ear and whispered, "Okay, from today on you're mine, Chloe, my one and only Chloe." "Aubrey, what are you thinking about so intently?" In the resort, Julian walked up behind Aubrey and draped a shawl over her shoulders. Julian hugged Aubrey from behind, holding her tight. Aubrey knew what Julian wanted, but an inexplicable irritation filled her heart. so she took a half step forward without a trace. What's wrong? You seem distracted. Nothing, just a little tired. Seeing Julian's skeptical look, Aubrey threw herself into his arms, acting coy, but her gaze involuntarily drifted to the phone on the table. Ethan hadn't called again. Ethan, you know I'm the type to yield to a soft approach, but resist a hard one. Yet, you always choose to go against me. Just one more call, and I'll believe you. Aubrey, are you worried about Ethan? If so, you should go check on him. I don't mind. I should thank him for taking care of you these past 7 years. Julian held Aubrey's face, his tone gentle, but his eyes held a hint of disappointment. Aubrey saw it, of course, and was instantly filled with guilt. She buried her face in Julian's chest. Julian, what are you thinking? We've already missed 7 years now. I wish I could be with you every second. Ethan, he's just trying to manipulate his way into staying with me. I won't fall for it. In my heart, no one is more important than you. No one. Aubrey repeated it silently in her mind. Aubrey, I never doubt your love for me. But thinking about it, kidnapping is no small matter. It could lead to someone's death. Is Ethan really that bold? He'd even fake something like this. Aubrey was slightly taken aback, then snorted. He dared to hit you right in front of me and then play the victim, calling you the bad guy. He's such a master of lying. What wouldn't he dare to do? This move is risky, but the payoff is big. But he overestimated his importance to me. To me, whether it's Ethan or some other guy, they're all the same. They're not you. After hearing this, Julian smiled with satisfaction, his eyes slightly red. Let's not talk about that liar. Come on, let's go eat. Aubrey took Julian's arm and headed for the door. Just then, the phone on the table rang. Aubrey's steps faltered, and Julian's expression instantly turned cold. Picking up the phone, Aubrey was somewhat disappointed by the caller ID. She answered, and her assistant's voice came through. Miss Thorne, a courier just delivered a package for you to the front desk. Wendy, do you need to report such a small matter to me? Aubrey was displeased. The sender is Mr. Ethan. A look of understanding flashed in Aubrey's eyes, and she suddenly felt her prediction was right. His act had failed, and Ethan couldn't hold back anymore. He sent a ring, the assistant said hesitantly. It looks like the birthday present Ethan was going to give you, but there's a small note next to it. What does it say? Return to owner. As for the man, he's mine now. Aubrey suddenly gripped her phone tightly, her voice trembling slightly. What did you say? When the assistant sent the photo, Aubrey recognized the ring at a glance. It was indeed the one Ethan had bought for her. She had secretly found it in his suit pocket, but the handwriting on the note was not his. A wave of panic suddenly washed over her. Aubrey, this sounds strange. Does Ethan have a girlfriend? Should we call him and ask? Julian's probing voice came from his side. A mocking expression gradually appeared on Aubrey's face. Right. How could Ethan have a girlfriend? She picked up her phone, tapped on Ethan's profile, and sent a few text messages. What's this new trick? You think I'll fall for it just because you wrote some ambiguous words on a piece of paper? You've got it all figured out, haven't you? You're just waiting for my call. Ethan, I'm telling you, I'll take the ring, but who you're with is your business, not mine. Don't contact me unless it's for work. You're annoying. There was no reply to the string of messages. Recalling Ethan's previously quick and timely responses, the frustration in Aubrey's heart grew stronger. The chat history still contained Ethan's daily reminders and expressions of care for her. She usually replied with just a few words like, got it, okay? Or a voice in her head whispered, Ethan won't leave. He's always been behind you, hasn't he? All these acts are just because he's jealous of Julian. She sneered, then turned her phone off completely. Ethan, I'm waiting for the day you regret this. Then she slipped her arm into Julian's and said with a bright smile, Julian, let's not worry about trivial matters. Tonight you're mine. The next day, when I woke up, the space beside me was empty, and the sound of water came from the bathroom. Everything last night felt like a dream, and now that I was awake, I didn't know how to face it. Should I negotiate a price with the kidnapper boss, or talk about our relationship and take responsibility? Or should I just leave quietly? I walked step by step to the door. The clothes scattered on the floor were a testament to last night's passion. The water in the bathroom stopped, and then a light laugh came from behind me. What? Planning to deny everything? No, I'm not. I stammered, then quickly looked down when I saw Chloe's naked body. I just hadn't been in this situation before and didn't know the proper post-event protocol. Why are you shy? Chloe walked closer, her fair feet coming into my view. You saw everything last night, didn't you? Her hands climbed up the back of my neck, her breath warm on my skin as she spoke. The posture was incredibly intimate. You should know who I am, right? No man Chloe Morgan sets her sights on has ever gotten away. Of course, I knew the Morgan family, Chloe Morgan, with influence in both the legal and criminal worlds. Their businesses and power were immense. Running away was definitely the worst option. My bodyguards are right outside. If you want to run, you better see if you have what it takes. Chloe's hand was creating mischief on my chest. I grabbed it, then gripped her waist, lifting her up amidst her soft cry and placing her feet on my slippers. I then grabbed a towel and wrapped it around her. Be careful not to catch a cold. Chloe burst out laughing, and just as she was about to say something more, her phone rang. She trotted over to answer it, her expression gradually turning serious. Grandpa, you don't need to plead for them. Breaking the rules means punishment. That's a rule you set. I'm not afraid of rumors. You know, I got this position on my own merit, not just because I'm a Morgan. I want to make an example of them, so that in the future, anyone who disregards my words and undermines my plan for business transformation will know the consequences. Her demeanor became sharp, a stark contrast to the woman in my arms last night, but my heart skipped a beat. I got a pair of slippers and knelt in front of Chloe. She was still saying some playful things into the phone, and the person on the other end seemed helpless against her. I grabbed one of her ankles. She flinched instinctively, then glanced at me with a smiling, curved look. By the time I had put her slippers on, her call was over. Chloe, we need to talk. The 70 million ransom. I can't pay it. Chloe was stunned for a moment. Then she laughed. The kidnapping had nothing to do with me. I took you with me because I was attracted to you. I asked you, and you chose me. I considered this, so the ransom was off the table. Yes, I nodded solemnly. I'll take responsibility for last night. Oh, and how will you take responsibility? She asked, her bright eyes staring straight at me. The sunlight fell on her, making her skin look even fairer. My heart stirred, and I leaned in to kiss her lips, our mouths tangling together as I panted between kisses. Let's be in a relationship. Be my girlfriend, Chloe. Aubrey's phone was turned back on by Julian. He said the phone had a lot of work information on it, and keeping it off might cause problems, telling her not to be willful. She snuggled in Julian's arms, dazedly accepting his pecs, and nodded in a haze of passion. The phone's notification sound chimed incessantly. Aubrey couldn't help but feel a little smug. She bet more than half of those messages were from Ethan. Ethan always reminded her of every little detail, constantly seeking her attention. Seeing the messages she'd left, his apologies would probably form a short essay. She squinted and tapped the screen just as a call came in again from her assistant. Didn't I tell you I'm on vacation? Don't call me unless it's important. The assistant stammered on the other end. Miss Thorne, Ethan hasn't come to work for 3 days. We've sent him messages and called him, but there's no reply. The executive office is in chaos. 3 days ago, Ethan had called saying he was kidnapped. Aubrey was instantly wide awake. She shot up, ignoring Julian's strange look, and dialed Ethan's number. As she waited for the ringing, countless possibilities flashed through her mind. Ethan would be fine. Was this a new trick of his? The call finally connected, but it was a strange woman's soft, husky voice that answered. Aubrey's eyes narrowed sharply. The hand holding the phone trembled slightly. Ethan's phone was with a woman. Who was she? Aubrey calmed herself and said, Where's Ethan? Don't hurt him. I can give you the ransom. Money for the man. There was a moment of silence on the other end, followed by the woman's scoff. A little late to be ransoming him, don't you think? Sorry, he's mine now, and I have to thank you for giving me a boyfriend. Aubrey was furious, grabbing her clothes and getting out of bed, heading straight for the door, only to stop abruptly. She yelled at the woman on the phone. Where did you come from? What have you done to Ethan? Send him back immediately, or I'll make you wish you were never born. Julian had never seen Aubrey like this and was momentarily stunned. Aubrey's chest heaved violently as she paced back and forth in the room, a murderous aura surrounding her. She closed her eyes, then patiently asked, "I'll ransom him now. Tell me, where do I send the money?" Chloe looked up at the man, frowning even in his sleep, and suddenly remembered the information her subordinate had reported. Ethan grew up in an orphanage. Aubrey's secretary and right-hand man was infatuated with Aubrey, but she never acknowledged their relationship. But so what? Aubrey had no idea what she had thrown away. She held the man tighter, an idea forming in her mind. The agreed $70 million deposited into his account, not a penny less. The next morning, Chloe told me my old flame had called me in the middle of the night. She watched my expression as she spoke. I found it a little funny, ruffled her hair, and said, "Her business has nothing to do with me anymore." Chloe's lips curved into a smile. "We can't let her off that easy. I had her transfer the $70 million to you." When I saw the countless missed calls and hundreds of messages in my chat log, I instantly understood that Chloe had successfully driven Aubrey crazy. Chloe saw it too, but dismissed it with a TSK. Too little, too late, bad intentions. I also saw the messages from my colleagues at the company. There were some things I had to go back and handle, so I prepared to get up. Chloe pouted and held me down. "Leaving already? Go to find your old flame?" I chuckled. "No, I'm going back to quit," I said, tapping her nose. "Oh." Chloe drew out the sound, sitting up with me, her shoulder half exposed, the dense red marks on her fair skin. My throat tightened, and I leaned in, placing a kiss on her forehead. "If you keep tempting me, you won't be getting out of bed." She smiled slightly, reaching out to tickle my armpits, and added, "Fine, but if you dare to flirt with her, I'll castrate you." I took a taxi back to the company, and the people in the executive office looked at me as if I were their savior. "Ethan, you're finally back. We were so worried about you." I smiled and said it was nothing. "It's good that you're okay. If you hadn't come back, I think the boss would have dismantled the entire executive office. She wants to see you as soon as you get back. Be careful. She's been in a terrible mood lately." Walking into Aubrey's office, she was staring at me without a word, her lips pressed tightly together. I sat down opposite her and calmly took out a resignation letter. She glanced at it and sneered. "What? Leaving as soon as you get back? Oh, I forgot. You'd even sleep with a kidnapper. What wouldn't you do?" I looked at her with a mocking expression. "Aubrey, you always seem to be so vicious towards me. And don't call her that, woman. It's classless. She's not a kidnapper. She's the one who saved me." Aubrey sneered and slammed her hand on the desk. "Who are you kidding? Saving you requires sleeping with you. Oh, I get it. You two were already secretly together, weren't you? You used this act to show me, so you could be together openly." I met her gaze calmly and said slowly, "Aubrey, get it straight. Who I'm with is my freedom. What right do you have to control me? I might as well tell you she's my girlfriend now. If it weren't for her, I would have been bled dry that day, and you really would have had to collect my body." Aubrey stared at me for a few seconds, and when she processed it, a look of panic flashed in her eyes. I didn't know. I thought it was just an act out of jealousy for Julian." I sighed softly, but my heart felt nothing. Did I not make myself clear? You didn't believe a word I said. "Aubrey, I'm really curious. What kind of person am I in your eyes? I guess it's manipulative, petty, jealous, and vain. Fortunately, I'm not. Your first love, Julian, was supposed to be a simple kidnapping for ransom, but because you abandoned me, it almost turned into a slaughter. Who do you think wanted me dead?" I said all I need to say. "We don't need to see each other again." Aubrey's eyes widened, and she couldn't say a word. It was the first time I had seen such a defeated expression on her face. There was nothing left to say between us. I stood up, and she stood up with me. "Ethan, I thought you'd always be by my side. This time it was my fault. Let's forget the unpleasantness. Forget that woman, and we could go back to how things were." "Okay, how things were. Was it 7 years of giving my all only to be outdone by a single act from her first love? Was it being hot and cold with me while being completely devoted to her first love? Was it watching me in despair only to dismiss it lightly later?" I laughed, but my eyes were full of sarcasm. These 7 years, when I think about them now, are just disgusting. Aubrey, you don't deserve my love. You and Julian, you're a perfect match. I sincerely wish you and Julian a long and happy life together." Aubrey clenched her fists, biting her lip, her eyes faintly red. "Ethan, you think I care? If you want to leave, then leave. I hope you mean what you say. By the way," she took out a familiar jewelry box from her drawer. "Take this back and give it to your new flame." Chloe's playful threat flashed in my mind, and I couldn't help but smile. "I'll make sure to keep my promise." "No thanks. She doesn't like things other women have touched. You can deal with it as you see fit." After walking out of the Thorn Corporation building, I felt an unprecedented sense of freedom. I deleted all of Aubrey's contact information. My life was starting over. A week later, Julian showed up at my door. I asked with a dark expression, "What do you want?" "What did you say to Aubrey? Are you trying to drive a wedge between us again?" I was defeated by his logic inside, rubbing my forehead. "Dude, I've already quit. What could I say? And even if I did, would she believe me? As for you, you dare to do it, but not admit it? Anyone with a brain could figure out your motives for coming back with a little investigation. Aubrey is the head of a company. How long do you think she'll be fooled?" He was stunned for a moment, then sneered and said viciously, "Don't think I don't know what game you're playing. Playing hard to get, right? I've seen it all before. I'm warning you. Stay away from Aubrey and don't even think about ruining our relationship. Otherwise, I can make you disappear from this world. Is that so?" A familiar female voice said, dripping with sarcasm. Chloe stood at the elevator entrance, a look of disdain on her face. "You try it. Let's see if you get rid of my man first, or if I make sure you have no grave to be buried in." Julian stood there stunned, taking a moment to react. "You're Chloe Morgan." Chloe nodded. You guys?" Julian was incoherent. "Now that you know, why don't you get lost?" Chloe waved her hand impatiently, waiting for me to deal with him. After Julian left, the doorway became quiet. Chloe yawned, and I was amused by her lazy demeanor. Finally decided to come find me. I opened my arms. She smoothly slid into my embrace. "Busy with things, and did you miss me?" I let out a low hum, but she pressed on. "I don't believe you. You have to show me with your actions how much you missed me." Her rosy lips were right in front of me, and I lowered my head to kiss them. The door closed, and we stumbled towards the bedroom. That night, the room was filled with passion, and I showed her with my body how much I missed her, so much that it drove me mad. At midnight, I, who never posted on my feed, posted an official update. Me and my Chloe. The picture was of Chloe and me embracing in front of a mirror. Aubrey had been on edge lately. According to her investigation, Julian had returned because he was deep in gambling debt and had nowhere else to go. As for the sweet nothings he whispered to her, they were probably half-truths at best. She closed her eyes, feeling an unprecedented exhaustion. Just now, the new secretary had handed her a cup of coffee. She took one sip and spat it out. The taste was wrong, too sweet. She was about to lash out. "How do you make coffee, Getty?" She swallowed the rest of the sentence. Ethan was gone. After handling a few documents, she went for a walk around the office. Passing the break room, she suddenly heard a few employees gossiping. She had intended to ignore it, but the subject of their gossip was Ethan. "Did you guys hear? Ethan and Chloe Morgan are together." "I saw it. He posted it late at night. That picture, TSK, so intimate. Honestly, they look great together. But wasn't Ethan always in love with our boss? When did he get with the head of the Morgan family? I heard she's a real tough character." "Well, Ethan disappeared for 3 days, and when he came back, he quit. I'd say he was probably heartbroken by the boss." Aubrey cleared her throat, and the gossiping employees fell silent, frozen in fear. But she said nothing and turned away, her mind filled with the name she had just heard, Chloe Morgan. So it was her, the youngest head of the Morgan family in history. Upon taking office, she announced a business transformation, setting a strict rule to completely legitimize the Morgan family business within 3 years. It had only been a year, and Chloe's vow was already mostly fulfilled. The Morgan family's prestige in the business world had risen to a new level. Aubrey had met her once at a banquet. At that time, she had brought the newly returned Julian, making the long-awaiting Ethan look awkward, though he didn't say anything. It was in the restroom that she had a brief encounter with Chloe. After nodding and greeting, Chloe had called out to her. The woman had spoken softly from behind her. "Hey, Miss Thorne, you should treat your secretary better." Since going official, Chloe and I had tacitly started living together. She even moved her work home. While she was frowning over a pile of data, I was bringing out a late-night snack. Ugh, I'm the worst with numbers. This is killing me. Someone save me. I was amused by her antics. "Go eat. I'll handle it." Chloe happily started on her snack, her eyes constantly drifting towards me as she exclaimed, "Ethan, you look so handsome when you're focused on work." I'm so good at picking men. By the time I finished organizing the last pile of data, Chloe had fallen asleep on the sofa. The woman who was so decisive at work was now curled up into a small ball, and the softest part of my heart overflowed. I carefully carried her to bed, tucked her in, and leaned down to place a gentle kiss on her cheek. When I went downstairs to take out the trash, I ran into Aubrey. She got out of her car, looking like she had been sitting there for a long time. We hadn't seen each other in a while, and I felt she was different, a bit more cautious, not like before when she always took me for granted. I had nothing to say to her. As I walked past, she called out to me, "Ethan, how have you been lately?" I stopped but didn't speak. She continued on her own. "You look like you're doing well. I don't mean anything by it. I know the person you're with is Chloe Morgan. You need to be careful. She's not a woman you can control." I scoffed. "What does that have to do with you?" A flash of pain crossed her eyes, and she spoke again. "Ethan, you don't have to play such a big game with me. This time you win. As long as you come back, I'll be with you." She still thought I was fighting with her. Maybe the coldness in my eyes made her realize these words meant nothing to me. She sighed, her face ashen. "Ethan, I'm not used to life without you. Miss you. Come back. From now on, you'll be the only one by my side." A helpless curve formed on my lips, and I said to her word by word, "Aubrey, from the very beginning, I've been very clear about what I'm doing. I'm not acting or making a bet with you. I thought I made it clear. It's long been over between us." Aubrey's face instantly turned pale, and after a moment, she said with trembling lips, "You said you'd always be with me. You said it. How could you suddenly go back on your word?" I looked up at the night sky, lost in thought, and replied calmly, "Aubrey, it can take a long, long time to warm a person's heart, but it only takes a moment to break it. I just feel like I was a poor judge of character before, repeatedly allowing you to trample on my feelings. Now I understand. Loving someone who is worthy of love is the greatest happiness." After speaking, I ignored her and turned to leave. She still wouldn't give up and said, "Then I'll start cherishing you now. I'll pursue you. Give me a chance, okay?" I was about to tell her to stop bothering me, but Chloe didn't give me the chance. She had come downstairs at some point and emerged from the hallway, smiling flamboyantly. How funny, begging for love in front of his girlfriend. How lonely are you? Stop repenting. There's no medicine for regret in this world. You can only blame yourself for not seeing your own heart, for making one mistake after another. She slipped her arm into mine and continued her tirade. Belated affection is cheaper than dirt. And besides, who knows how deep your feelings even are? When it came to being sharp-tongued, I was no match for Chloe. Aubrey bit her lip, her face gradually turning red, unable to retort.